Birds of a feather flock to try this ancient Irish sport. Keep listening to learn all about it. Thank you for tuning in to the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Today, I am really excited to talk about falconry in Ireland. It's an activity that often ranks high on the list of visitors, mainly because it's not something that you can do just anywhere. So today I have Willie Forde joining me, and Willie is the owner of Adare Country Pursuits, which operates out of the Adare Manor in Adare, County Limerick. So Willie, hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. I hear that it's a little wet right now for you, but, you know, it's
terrible weather for us. Absolutely terrible. Wind and rain, and we don't like that. We get enough of it, but we get too much of it. Not great at the moment, unfortunately.
But it should blow through pretty quick, right?
Well, we're looking forward to a better week next week.
Beautiful. So now, Adare Country Pursuits. Tell me a little bit about, you know, the company itself, the business, and how that kind of came about.
Okay, all right. I'll give you a little bit of background, Jody, on this.
Beautiful.
I suppose my background, I've always been involved with training of animals, mainly dogs. Did a bit of hunting over falcons 35, 40 years ago. I used to go to Scotland for that with some friends. Really enjoyed it, great fun. I train gun dogs, I train spaniels, I train retrievers, I compete with them in field trials, and I have done so, you know, successfully over the years. I suppose about 10 years ago, Adare Manor asked me would I consider setting up a falconry centre on the grounds of Adare Manor. We did have falconers coming in, but they particularly wanted to have something that could be set up within the grounds of the manor and that could be available to guests, you know, sort of at short notice, at a half an hour's notice, an hour's notice, that if a guest was at a loose end or a group, that they could go and do falconry. So I then set about putting a collection together. I agreed on this, I suppose, about 8 years ago. I decided, yes, look, I'll do this. I always loved falconry anyway, so I said, I'll do this. So we started putting our collection together and built a collection with, you know, we got a couple of falcons, Harris hawks, even got a steppe eagle about 5 years ago. And we started, I think, about 5 years ago doing the displays on the grounds of Adare Manor. When we decided to do this, the collection was small at the start. Mm-hmm. And we had a plan to build that collection. I put a plan together that we would build on that collection. And we started with, I think, 6 birds. We're now over 30 birds at this point, and the collection is almost complete. So the displays themselves, I suppose, what we try and do, we bring birds to displays for guests, and we try and make it educational and fun for people while this goes on.
And it's really a nice setup because you kind of have a walled area that you work in, so it's very secluded from everything else going on the estate.
Yes, it is. We decided to use the wall garden for the displays because the wall garden was built around 1830, around the same time as the manor. It's copied on a design from an estate in Wales. So the wall garden is pretty unique. Built in 1830, started in 1830, and there's 2 sections to that, and it is actually, you know, considered a walled garden because this is where they produced all their greenhouses in here, and they did all the veg and all that for the house and for the families. So we use that now. That is our location for the falconry.
And the way you run your falconry, I've noticed in the demonstrations that I've done in Ireland, everybody has kind of a different way of presenting the birds and then doing their falconry demonstration. And I think one of the things that I really liked about yours is that when we were setting up our falconry demonstration, you sent me the pamphlet, the brochure, and said, you can choose the birds you want to learn about. And so, you know, obviously we had our Harris hawk out there, and we had a very large owl. But beyond that, we got to kind of choose the birds that we wanted to know more about. So I know that when I was choosing that with my daughters, one of them chose this tiny, wee, little cute bird, and another one chose a bird based on its name. And that was a really, really interesting experience, and it made it kind of nice because you were able to follow your own interests as well.
Yeah. Yes, we do that, Jody. We, I think, have, I looked at what happens in other centres, and I looked at what we should do in Adare Manor, and we felt that, number one, we should make the Falconry session private. So if it's for a family, a small group, a couple of children, it's private for them. We don't mix people in together. You'll never have a situation where you're in with another family or another group. And this is important for us, especially in relation to children and, the care of children and, and making sure that everything is done, and we have certain restrictions here with photographs and that, and strangers taking photographs. So we try to avoid all that. So to do that, we went private with everything. Mm-hmm. We created a brochure there 2 years ago. We started putting it together. And again, to distinguish ourselves from other areas, we decided then that we would allow people to select. For a typical display, we would have 8 individual birds. So we decided we would allow people to select 6 birds, and we would select a further 2, including Harris Hawk. So they could look at the brochure, pick the birds they wanted. If any of them were off for any reason, we would advise in advance, if they were going through a molt or something like that. So we thought we would make it pretty unique for people by doing that. And I think this has actually worked very well with guests. Guests really, they start to enjoy the experience before they even meet us, because they get the opportunity to read a little about these birds, to see a nice photograph of them. We send them a soft copy to see a nice photograph, a little bit of information on the bird, and they can make their selection then for their displays.
And that worked out. I mean, it was kind of nice because we knew a little bit about what we were going to be expecting, and then you really just took the experience above and beyond, because when you set it up, you have the birds are all on their perches in the garden, and then you work through, the information of each bird. You remove it from the perch. You have a chance to hold the bird and learn about it, and that was really very in depth on, and for every bird. So it was, an experience that I hadn't had before, and it was really, really nice.
Yes, we do that, and we let people handle all the birds. Our birds are mainly imprints. They are not tame, but they are trained to be comfortable around people. Mm-hmm. So, they will quite happily sit on someone's glove. So by having them imprinted and comfortable with people, we can do that. It's safe for the birds, it's safe for the guests, and having a bird sitting on your hand or flying a bird freely to someone's gloved hand is an amazing experience for people. Coupled with that, we give lots of information on each particular bird as we go along. So, and again, this helps people ask questions. We encourage people to ask questions. And we always try and make it a bit of fun, that people can enjoy it, and that, there's a bit of banter going on. And, as I say, we're telling people about these birds all the time as we go.
Right, and then, like you said, you do finish with the demonstration of the Harris Hawks coming to your hand, which is always exciting.
Yeah, and in actual fact, Jody, we have changed, since your visit, we have decided now that we're going to we fly several birds, freely during the display.
Oh, very nice.
So we've changed it up. We've changed it up again, just to make it, again, more interesting for people. So now, for example, we could fly the snowy owl, we could fly Oscar the eagle owl, we can fly one of the falcons, one of the other, maybe one of the barn owls, and we can actually we don't fly we fly the eagle owl to a perch. Mm-hmm. The other birds we can fly to a dove, and then we would, we would fly the Harris hawks freely at the finish, and maybe go for a walk with the guests through the woods, through an area there that we have, dedicated for the hawk walks.
Oh, that's exciting. I love how you, kind of keep things fresh and moving forward. You're always just kind of looking to see what the next thing is, it seems like.
Yeah, and it is, and that's important for us. We just like to keep the thing going. And again, since you were with us, Jody, we have added to the collection considerably. We've added maybe 8 birds to the collection since you were with us. We now have 5 eagles with us. We have 2 American bald eagles. We have a male and female American bald eagle. Now, it's important that I say all these birds are bred in captivity. Right. They are not taken from the wild. We have a golden eagle, a steppe eagle, and the latest addition is a young African fish eagle, which we are just starting to train. We just started maybe 2 weeks ago to train this young bird, and it's fantastic. So, and again, when when we start going properly again in the summer, when we start to get busy, we're looking at possibly doing some eagle displays. That we'll have 5 or 6 eagles, because I have a plan to introduce maybe 2 more eagles. We'll go to 7 or 8 eagles in total.
Wow.
And to do eagle displays with eagles flying, that people will see them flying, and also that people will be able to, that guests will be able to hold the eagles on their glove. Needless to say, we give them a very strong glove. We make sure everything is done safely, and the falconer is always, very, very standing right next to the guests, just reversing the birds up on their glove. And we do this. We've done this with the bald eagle. We've already did this with the golden eagle. And even though they're very powerful birds, they're quite relaxed and and very comfortable, as I say, around people. The eagles, I have to say, they are not imprints. We don't imprint eagles. Okay. Eagles are crash reared. It's a whole different story, I suppose.
Well, and that brings up a really good point. I know something that I'm asked often when families are looking at doing a hawk walk or a falconry visit is they want to know that the animals are being, well cared for, and just yes. the humane issues. So
of course there are ethical considerations.
Right, and of course, I always tell them, falconry is not something that you get into as a, once in a while hobby. This is a full-time, these birds are, probably more needy than children, in all honesty, right?
Yes, and, a very good question, because, it is important that the birds are well looked after. And, Adare Country Pursuits, when we started off, there was one person with me. There's now up to, busy times we have up to 6, but there's always at least 3 of us involved in handling the birds. And, we also have a zoo license. We have, this is very controlled stringently by the National Parks and Wildlife. I applied for a zoo license when I started operating there 5.5 years ago. We have a zoo license now for the last 3 years. It takes the department a little bit of time to get around, but they eventually came to us. We have our zoo license, and now in the meantime we're also inspected by National Parks and Wildlife. The care and control of the birds is of paramount importance. So, every day each bird is weighed. We check their weight. We check them physically. We make sure that there's no injuries. And so the care of the birds is very important. Whether we need it or not, we still have 2 visits from our veterinary team per annum, and we also, of course, do testing of all birds with bloods and fecal samples and that twice annually also. And this again makes sure that the birds are healthy, that they're fit, that they're in good condition, and if things like if anything happens, parasites, anything like that, they're all dealt with very efficiently then with treatment.
Right, and I know that, just from speaking with you and with other falconers, I mean, it's not something that you can take a day off from. I mean, if you have the birds, I mean, either you or someone else every day, they have to be out, they have to be exercised. So
Jody, it's 365 days per annum. Christmas Day, we have to go out there. We have to go out. We have to take the birds out. We have to weigh them. We have to check them. We have to make sure they have water. We have to make sure that everything is in order. We have a pretty large area for our aviary. We're in an old equestrian centre. Mm-hmm. The birds are all penned individually, except some of the harris hawks that have been crashed with are penned together. They're in their aviaries together. But that's the only situation where you would have them collectively in a pen. We do have to check them every day of the year. We have to handle them, check them, look at them, and make sure everything is okay. So it's not something that someone gets into just to say, look, I get a bird, and so look, I'll be able to take him out 2 days a week, and someone else can look after him the other 5. You can't do that. They have to be looked after. They have to be looked after very well. And again, Parks and Wildlife, they are the body here, the government body who control and the issuing of licenses. Everything is done under license. Every bird has to have a ring number. You have to know the breeding history. You have to know where the birds have come from, and they're all registered with National Parks and Wildlife. Unfortunately, with the exception of some of the owls, but they may get around to doing that in the near future.
It's definitely not something that somebody's going to pick up one day and just get started, which makes it all the more rare.
It does, and even to get a license in this country, a person would have to have a mentor in place, or they would have to have someone. If it's a bigger setup, they would have to employ someone with experience to get going. So it's not something you can just start at to drop of a hat. It takes time to get into this, and the people involved, they have to have experience.
Right. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a turn there, because falconry is not the only thing that Adare Country Pursuits offers.
No, we offer archery. It's something we practice a bit ourselves outside on the grounds. It's something that I've been involved in with clubs, and Liam has been involved with. So we offer archery, and when we start off again, the end of this year, we will also be offering clay pigeon shooting.
Oh, nice.
And possibly some other activities. But we'll have clay pigeon shooting. We will definitely have archery, and the falconry will be there also.
Well, and I know that the archery experience that we had was really helpful, because, we actually, kind of, my girls do a little bit of, playing with a bit of archery, but nothing,
Right.
They hadn't been properly taught, I suppose, is the best way to state it. And so it was so helpful, for you to, line us up and get our stance right, and really teach us how to do it correctly. And it was great fun.
Well, it is great fun, and we often find, Jody, that guests come into us, and the targets are 4 foot square. Mm-hmm. And the first 5 shots, they'll be lucky to hit the target once. The amazing thing is that once we get them shooting and we show them our system, people come in and they've seen archery on TV, they've watched the Cowboys and Indians, they see the Hunger Games, and everyone thinks this is the way to shoot, So we show them we have a very simple method for training people and getting them shooting. And, it works very well. And I've even had people with some experience coming in and changing to our system because they found it easier to aim, to hit the targets. And I have to say that, guests really love it. Once they start hitting the targets, they start getting into the yellow, they just love it. And it makes it all the more interesting for them and for us also.
It's great fun. It's great fun. Now,
it is, yeah.
As we've mentioned, you are located at Adare Manor. And Adare Manor has been closed for a little while and will be closed until, I believe, it's September or October this year?
Correct, yeah. Adare Manor closed down last January, 12 months, and closed down for a major refurb. They're doing a fantastic job there on the hotel. They're building on, we're going to go over, I think it's from a 60-bedroom hotel up to over 100 rooms. conference and banqueting facilities for, I think, up to 400 people, which we didn't have in the past. Mm-hmm. So they're doing an amazing job on it. The golf course, they've done work on the golf course. The golf club that opened in 1999, they've actually just, almost demolished the building, with the exception of the areas that would have been protected by conservation orders. The older parts of the building were all retained, and a very, very good job done on them. So it's a massive job. It's still going on. There's hundreds of people working out there, and the plan is that they open in September. As far as I know, they're taking weddings and groups in for December, but opening for individuals booking in September in the hotel. And it's going to be absolutely off the scale when they finish this job. It's just going to be incredible. They're doing an amazing job on it. So we're all looking forward to this opening up.
Oh, I bet. Now, I do want to say, even through all this, the villas that are there on the grounds, and then you have been working this whole time. So that hasn't kind of closed you down. Things are still rolling, just at a different pace.
So we've been working away with the villa guests. The villas, there's 46 villas on the resort. There's 25 townhouses, and the villas have been open to guests throughout the refurb works. The townhouses have been available for guests during the refurb works. So we've been kept busy with guests from the villas, and also we do take non-residents in all the time. And going forward, with the new ownership there now, we will be doing that also in the future, in particular for archery and falconry. So non-residents will be able to come in and partake in those activities. But it's been going. We have been kept, nothing like 2015, but we've been kept ticking over, which I'm very happy with.
That's excellent. On the topic of Adare Manor and all these updates, you probably have a little more insight than most people. What do you think is going to be the really exciting thing coming out of the refurbishment and the new grand opening, I suppose?
Well, I think the refurbishment itself, Jody, just a little history of myself. I worked in Adare Manor for 18 years as facilities manager. Started activities, a separate company, even as the facilities manager in Adare Manor. I stepped away from that now, so I would know the resort very well. Mm-hmm. And without a shadow of a doubt, the hotel, the manor, it needed an injection. It needed a major refurb. We did work over the years, but budgets are often tight in places, as you can appreciate. Mm-hmm. So I think the reopening, it's just opening on a completely different level to, I think, anything we're going to have in this country. This will be a resort that will be sort of one of the best in the world, not just one of the best in Ireland. The owners here, the people who own Adare Manor, they aim high. They want nothing but the best. And that's exactly, I think, what we're going to have. We'll have an amazing resort. The hotel, and the work that's been done in the old Adare Manor building is just amazing. I mean, looking at the exterior of the building already, I can see massive improvements. So it's going to be just, as I say, it's going to be off the scale. It's going to be a fantastic place.
Amazing. Well, I'm excited to swing by because I know I'll be back in Ireland end of September, early October, so I'll have to make it a point to get that. Yes, I will definitely have to do that.
And the grounds, there's major work being done on the grounds also, Jody, so the grounds are going to get, they're doing a lot of work on the grounds there. So it's the whole place, roads are all being redone. It's just the infrastructure being completely redone. So it's going to be, as I say, it's going to be a top class resort.
Wow. That is just incredible. Well, Willie, you've offered so much information and so many great things for people to look forward to, especially, for a visit to Adare. So I'm going to take you kind of clear opposite of that. And because
Okay.
I'm sure this is a question you get when you meet with people who are visiting Ireland. I'm sure they ask you, what should I be sure to see? So what would you say are 3 places in Ireland that people just should not miss if they're visiting?
Okay, well, I tend to avoid the cities, to be honest with you. I prefer, and I always will have a preference for the countryside and the coastal areas. So I suppose if I was to name 3 places, definitely I would be saying go to the Cliffs of Moher and along the west coast there. I would also be saying Dingle in Kerry, that part of the world, to do a tour of that area. And I suppose my favourite place in Ireland would have to be West Cork. Rosscarbery, Skibbereen. I think they're just amazing. They're amazing. It's an amazing part of this country. And, it would always be my personal, the place that I would have a preference for over all the others. I think West Cork is just an amazing county, and it's a beautiful coastline along there. Plenty of nice places to stay, plenty of good restaurants down there, especially good seafood restaurants if that's what people want, and that's what I like when I go down around that part of the country. So, so I would be saying West Cork, Kerry, and the Clare coast. They, for me, would be my favourite parts of this country.
All amazing places.
And not too far from Limerick.
Right. Well, there you go. Day trip from Limerick.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Willie, thank you so much. It was so nice to talk to you again. I'm so excited to come back and visit after all the things are done there at Adare Manor. And of course, with your new birds, obviously, you've expanded quite a bit, and that's incredibly exciting as well.
Yeah, I think so. We're delighted with the way things have gone for us now for the last couple of years.
So if people want to get in touch with you, like you said, non-residents, which, for those of us in the United States who may not understand that phrasing, that means people who are not staying on the estate, so not in the villas or not in the manor. So people could call ahead and set appointments with you. I know that you have a very, very nice website.
Yes.
And is it better for people to email, or would it be better for people to call if possible to set their appointment?
No, email works fine, Jody. There's an email address up there on the website, and we get the inquiries in immediately as they're coming in.
Wonderful. Well, Willie, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. All right, Jody. Okay, thank you.
Just a final editing note. When this podcast was recorded, Adare Manor was set to reopen in October of 2017. That has since changed to November of 2017, and reservations are being taken now. Thanks again for listening to the Traveling in Ireland podcast.